I'm going to be honest with you. When me and Xander did the Ritual Beast versus Dinomist live duel, we didn't really expect much from our Water Dinosaur deck. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I was very surprised to see that you guys had an overwhelming support of Dinomist and wanting to see a deck profile. This forced me to go to the drawing board and actually try my very best to make a very competitive deck. Not saying that Dinomist weren't really good inside of the Ritual Beast game. They kind of got slaughtered, but here's the video anyways. Boop. But this deck actually had more potential than we thought. The ability to be able to go into some of the most best or the best extra deck monsters, and just the fact that it's a water machine deck makes this deck extraordinarily well. Also coupled with the fact that they protect themselves from destruction and is a very good pendulum based deck, we have a lot to show you about the Dinomist strategy that you didn't see in that video. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, you can Cyber Dragon Infinity that notification bell because we just too strong. Without further ado, I present to you a competitive Dinomist deck profile for the February 2018 or February 5th, 2018 Forbidden List, and of course, we always have those budget options. Alright guys, so looking into the monsters, we're going to start off with the high or the level 5 Dinomist. They're comprised of all level 5 or level 4 Dinomist monsters, and their scales always consist of 3 or 6. So 3 copies of Dinomist Rex, 2 copies of Dinomist Rex, 2 copies of Dinomist Spinos, 2 copies of Dinomist Branchion, and 3 copies of Dinomist Ceratops. Now, I want to break the pendulum effects of all of the Dinomist into 2 different effects because that is something that follows throughout the consistency of the deck profile. So all of the low scales allow themselves, or when a Dinomist card will be destroyed, you can destroy this card instead. And all of the high scales say if a Dinomist card you control is targeted, you can destroy this card instead. So actually, I think it negates the activation too. When it targets, no, it just says destroy this. Yeah, negate the activation that targets the card and then destroy this card instead. So these cards are really good as scales. They protect all of your Dinomist cards in a certain way, and if your opponent's targeting, you can make them pay for that. Their effects though are completely different. Dinomist Rex and Spinos both have different effects, but follow the same trend. Rex, when after it attacks, you contribute another Dinomist monster for it to attack again in a row. If it attacks again in a row, it inflicts piercing damage, and then you can use this effect again to tribute another Dinomist monster, and then you can shuffle a card on your field or on your opponent's field or hand into the deck. So it's really good at disruption. Spinos is an absolute game ender. I mean, it has the exact same effects as Dinomist Rex when it attacks. After that, you can tribute 1 Dinomist monster to gain the effects, and this effect actually allows you to attack directly, or it can make a second attack during the battle phase. So Spinos is actually the better of the boss monsters out of these 2, but both of them play a really significant role, especially seeing that they are level 5 machine Dinomist monsters. Now, Branchion and Ceratops actually have similar effects themselves as well, and what Branchion does is if you control, or if your opponent controls a monster with the highest attack, you can special summon this card to your side of the field. Ceratops is a little different. It's if you control no monsters, or I'm sorry, if all the monsters you control are Dinomist and you have to control at least 1, you can special summon this to your side of the field. So basically, these 2 cards are really good at clearing your opponent's board and disrupting your opponent, while as Branchion and Ceratops are really good at providing board presence, and both of them are equally important. Dinomist or Ceratops is arguably the best level 5 Dinomist monster, so that's why we maxed it out in copies of 3. So that's it for the level 5 Dinomist monsters. Now to the level 4 Dinomist monsters. 3 copies of Terran, 3 copies of Plasos, 2 copies of Ancolis, I'm sorry, I'm trying, and 1 copy of Dinomist Stegosaur. Now, you could say that these names are Jurassic. I know you guys like these puns. Come on now. But every single one of these cards plays a pretty pivotal role. Terran is like the elemental hero Stratos of the deck. When it destroys a monster by battle, and it allows you to search any Dinomist card from your deck to your hand. So really good card. Placeos is also a godly card as well. All your opponent's monsters lose attack and defense equal to the number of Dinomist cards you control. So these two cards work in tandem really well, with Placeos being able to lower your opponent's monsters attack low enough for Terran to destroy your opponent's monsters by battle in order to search you Dinomist cards from your deck to your hand. Now, Ankylos actually is a really good effect, as if it destroys an opponent's monster or any of your Dinomist monsters destroy your opponent's monsters, they're banished. So this is really good for board clearance. And then Stegosaur actually allows you to destroy an opponent's monster if it battles a Dinomist monster. So all of these monsters are extremely pivotal to the deck. It wouldn't be a Dinomist deck without these monsters, and the best thing about them is that they all have complementing effects. Branchion and Ceratops being able to complement the Spinos, and Rex providing monsters to be tributed. Placeos being able to provide lower your opponent's monster's attack for Terran to destroy. And then Ankylos, I would say it works well with Stegosaur, but Ankylos just works well with all of the cards. And then Stegosaur is that spot removal you'll need inside of the deck. So that's it for the Dinomist monsters, and ironically it's 9 of each scale. So you run 9 high scales, 9 low scales, which is really pivotal to any type of Dinomist strategy. Next, for the off support, of course we gotta run my boy 3 copies of Astrograph Sorcerer and then the 1 copy of Stargazer Magician. The reason why we do this is because access to one of our more important cards that came out of the Extreme Force set, Electrumite, is pretty important, and Astrograph Sorcerer provides us a free monster to our side of the field, which is like dummy good. This plus any other Dinomist monster obviously equals a free Electrumite, but more importantly, Astrograph Sorcerer allows us to destroy our Dinomist monsters with ease, and then on top of that, it can special summon itself to search another Dinomist monster, so it makes Wavering Eyes in the strategy more live, as well as being a pretty pivotal piece to tutoring Pendulum monsters to your side of the field. We run 2 copies of Curtain Raiser, which I know my boy, I want to call him Delta. I know his first name's Delta. He hates this card in multiples, but it's such a good card at being able to tutor itself to the side of the field, and you want to see it. Now, I do agree with him. You might want to side these out going game 2 for other better cards since you're going to be going second, but it's definitely one of the better openers in your deck because it allows you to make Electrumite as fast as possible. And don't worry, people, for the people that can't afford Electrumite, we do have those budget options, so just sit tight. For the hand traps, of course, we run 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and 1 copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Just really good disruption. In Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, I think it's gonna make a pretty good defining moment of the format, because it does get rid of problematic monsters or spells or traps through its effects. And sometimes if it's a spell or trap card, it won't be able to resolve all of its effects. So that is it for the monsters at what I believe is 28. For the spells, this card is just really saucy, maybe because there's a couple noodles, and I guess noodles are a sauce. No, they're a soup, but I guess you could say the deck's really soupy then. Instant Fusion is godly in this deck, and I'll be able to explain this card a little later to you guys, but it is really good inside of the Dinomist strategy. 3 copies of the best card, Dinomist Charge. This is easily what makes the deck go. It makes us want to run cards like Wavering Eyes. Basically, when it's activated, you get to add a Dinomist monster from your deck to your hand. Also, when your Dinomist monsters are destroyed, or when your Dinomist monsters are placed in the extra deck, you can add one of those monsters from your extra deck to your hand. So basically, it helps you mitigate having to special summon monsters from your extra deck to your side of the field, and it allows you to basically destroy your Dinomist cards for free. 3 copies of Wavering Eyes. Wavering Eyes is nasty good in this deck, mainly because you can destroy your scales. And if Dinomist Charge is active, you get to add one of those scales back to your hand. You can search Astrograph Sorcerer, chain Astrograph Sorcerer, and then add the other copy from your deck to your hand. So Wavering Eyes works very well in this deck, probably better in this deck than any other Pendulum deck. Lastly is 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Now, I know my boy, I completely forget your name right now. He hates Pot of Desires, but we're going to have to take the time out to explain to him that Pot of Desires is freaking awesome. So I know you're lurking, man. Just go ahead and post how you hate Pot of Desires, and we'll just tell you that Pot of Desires is legitimately an awesome card. It's really good. I'm sorry, we're not elitist. We're just speaking on how good the card is. Banishing 10 cards that don't matter to draw 2 additional cards is just too strong. I can't really say it any other way. And don't worry, man, I love you, man. I just gotta pick at you a little bit until you change your mind, because we're just speaking that truth. That's it for the spells. For the traps, we run 3 copies of Dinomist Howling. This is a really good card. So upon its activation, you can play Dinomist cards into your scales, but you can't pendulum summon monsters to your side of the field other than Dinomist until the next turn. That really doesn't bother us too much, seeing that almost every single card in our deck is Dinomist, and every card that we're going to pendulum summon is probably Dinomist, especially since we can't pendulum summon Astrograph Sorcerer in this deck. It's also a really good card because it makes all of your Dinomist monsters basically Kieran. You contribute it to bounce a card to your opponent's hand, so that's pretty damn good. And then lastly is 1 copy of Dinomist Rush. I didn't think that this card was that good, to be honest with you guys. I think that it's it allows you to special summon a Dinomist monster untutored, but it's a trap card, so it's pretty slow, but nonetheless it is searchable through Petrin or Terran, and it's a pretty decent tutor card to get a monster to your side of the field. So I opted with 1 copy. That's gonna sum up the main deck at 42 cards. You know I love 42, especially when I'm running cards like Pot of Desires. For the extra deck, this is where we get really saucy. Of course, we run the Affinity package, 1 Nova, 1 Infinity. Very easy to make inside of this deck, and that's probably all we make for 5s. I really didn't see a need to play any other 5 in this specific build. For you budget players, be on the lookout. Next, we run 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. This card is pretty freaking nasty in the deck. Seeing that most of the deck is water, this card will give all of your monsters 500 attack for that easy push. 1 copy of Ragna Zero. This card's also nasty. If you have Plasos on the field, all your opponent's monsters lose some type of attack. So Ragna Zero can actually basically act as a Zodiac Trident and destroy those monsters and gain you a card. The Bahamut Shark combo, and this is where I'm starting to talk about how the deck is just really good. You can play cards like Cyber Dragon Infinity, Ragna Zero, and Bahamut Shark, as well as Abyss Dweller to their fullest potential, and still play a level 5 machine deck. For instant fusion targets, we run 1 copy of Rare Fish. This card's pretty damn good. It helps you make all of your 4s, especially Bahamut Shark, and it's an instant fusion target. 1 copy of Sea Monster Theseus. This is also another great card, mainly because it's a water monster and it allows us to tutor into our link plays. This is actually the weakest link out of your your instant fusion targets, and you guys could drop it. For a second, I was like, bro, you can literally play Crystal Wing in this deck. You can summon this, send this in the Pendulum Monster to the grave, and then that's when I was like, you can't send Pendulum Monsters to the graveyard, so I can't special summon Ultimate Azulkin, or I would have been playing the Ultimate Azulkin combo in here. And then 1 copy of Panzer Dragon. This card is going to help you make your Infinity in case you need it. That's it for the Fusion Monsters. For the links, of course, we run Biko Bulker, Miss Starboy, because like I said, any of these monsters, Bahamut Shark, your Rare Fish, basically your Sea Monster Theseus, if you choose to do so, can make Bahamut Miss Starboy, and also basically all your Dinomist monsters can help make that. 2 copies of Qliphort Genuis. I mean, at first I was running 1 copy, and then I realized I could be a genius and run 2 copies because it can send any 2 machines. So if a Cyber Dragon Infinity is already used, I can send it to the graveyard to make a Genius. Isn't that a smart move? Or I can even send Genius and another card that I want off the field to summon Genius. So I mean, it's just a genius idea. And then lastly is 2 copies of Electrumite. And I am actually, before we get into the side deck, let's talk about those budget options, because this is where it starts to get a little hazy. But before I get into that, let me talk a little bit about Electrumite. It is a nasty good card, being able to destroy your scales. I mean, if you want to call that, to add other scales from your hand, triggering off your Dinomist Charge, triggering off your Astrograph Sorcerers, triggering off so many great things, and it places cards on the scales. It essentially replaces itself if it's summoned. I really strongly suggest you guys to get you guys some Electrumites if you can, but if you can't afford it, of course, like I said, we have those budget options. So Xander was actually playing this build, and it wasn't a bad build. I just thought that Ritual Beast overpowered it, and we weren't looking at Cyber Dragons to their fullest. So obviously, instead of playing your Ash Blossoms and Joyous Springs, because those are kind of expensive, your Curtain Risers, so that brings us to 5. We can't special summon Electrumite, so those are kind of useless. The Stargazer Magician, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to find room for 3 more cards. I'm going to leave those 3 cards up to you. You guys could say the Astrograph Sorcerer. If you're not feeling it, just go that route and just take out all 9, and which isn't a bad idea. And this is what he was running, and I'm telling you guys, it is sauce. So you guys seen in the video 3 copies of Thunder Dragon, but you really didn't see why he played it. This card, at the cost of pitching itself, it gets you 2 more copies, and he actually ran the Galaxy Soldier engine with it, and you can run more copies of Nova and Infinity, because pumping out Nova and Infinity is pretty damn good. But also notice that this card is a machine, and your card that's probably going to take the forefront for Pendulum base, or for your Pendulum base deck instead of Electrumite, is Qliphort Genuis. So these 6 cards are freaking amazing. But then he topped it off with another card which I didn't even think was good. Like, I thought this card was trash for the longest, and then he started to explain it, and I was like, bro, you're on to something, which is 3 copies of Constellar. I'm gonna call him Zubin Schmale, all right? I like that name, Zubin Schmale. And basically, when this card is normal summon or special summon, you can add 1 Constellar, cough cough himself, from your deck to your hand, which is essentially a Galaxy Soldier target, and it's a machine monster, so it helps you make Cyber Dragon Infinity as well, and it's a Pendulum summonable card. So literally, this card had everything going for it to fit in this 9-card engine to bring you a freaking free Infinity deck. Another thing is that you also have access to one of the best rank 5 monsters, which the normal Dinomist build doesn't have accesses, and that's Constellar Polites. Being able to bounce cards on either player's field to the hand is pretty damn good. So if you guys are budget, look into this. This is a really good combo. You run 9 light monsters. Galaxy Soldier should have enough targets, and that's like literally, that's fucking awesome. I loved what he did. As soon as he showed that to me, I was like, I have to incorporate this combo in as many decks as I could. Unfortunately, this is the only one. So for the for the side deck, 2 copies of Chaos Hunter, 4 Trick Stars, Raigeki. For board clearance, 3 copies of Mind Crush for the Evenly Matched. Pendulum decks really hate Evenly Matched. And then 3 copies of Evenly Matched itself, because Pendulum decks really hate Evenly Matched. If you guys can't afford Evenly Matched, I guess Kaiju Gamsil or a Kaiju is a decent substitute. 2 copies of Hey True Nate. What I've noticed about this deck is that it hates back row. So Hey True Nate allows me to clear that back row so I can go off. 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. So you guys would probably say that this is overkill, but it's not, because Cosmic Cyclone is like godly against Pendulum Magician, and Hey True Nate's godly against anti-meta. And then that 1 copy of Limiter Removal. This card's really good for getting over my opponent's monsters. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see this deck in action yet again, the new and improved version, then go ahead and destroy that like button, but also post down below in the description. Now, I know a lot of you guys have a lot of deck profiles you want me to do. Chill out. I can only do 1 video per day. Well, I could do 2, but I'm only gonna do 1 video per day for you guys. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. Let me know down below which deck profile should I do, because I've probably already done it and it's just waiting on a schedule.